we are live from Thank You 5.
Wow, that rhymes.
I know. I knew going into it. That was the line I was going to say, too.
You did? You
I
didn't even
did.
tell me about it.
I know. Okay, so we have the honor and privilege of having Pete for the 17th time. Pete White from Pete White Boxing and MMA. What's going on, Pete?
How you doing, guys? Thank you again for having us.
Taylor White, the next big thing. I know we had a little roast session, but you are Taylor White, the next big thing.
Yes.
We have Charlie Yanes fighting out of Pete White Boxing and MMA, and Chris Mixan.
What's up, guys?
Looking fresh as always.
Try occasionally.
Dave the Wave.
Yes, that's me.
And Sean, the producer, magic behind the scenes.
What up?
And we will be having we have
Mitchell.
Mitchell coming in.
Yeah, we got Mitchell Chabali coming in. I think he had to go to Wawa first, get something to eat
I
or
saw
something.
something about gummy bears.
Yeah, he's always.
So he's a gummy bear guy.
Yeah, he's coming up from Orlando. He had to teach tonight, so he's on his way. He should be here any minute.
That's a good excuse. And in his defense, I told him 8:30.
Yep.
And then I texted him today 8, and he's like, "Oh my God!" So Mitchell, I apologize for the late notice. You have an excuse this time.
He'll be fine.
But okay, so this gives us the opportunity, though, Pete. You got something going down, right?
Yes, we do actually. In conjunction with my good friend and coach Barry Stewart, who runs the Putnam County PAL up in Palatka, he does. He has an organization up there that runs with the PAL for the kids and everything, and we will be doing a amateur boxing event on July 24th in Palatka at the high school up there, and it will be the Battle of the Badges, where we have the police versus the fire department. So we have a bunch of firemen and police that are already signed up and ready to go. There seems to be more firemen than police. I'm not saying nothing, policemen,
I'm
but
going to say, why is that?
we need to step up our game there, policemen. In the meantime, but we're looking forward to this event. If you notice on this event, it's $10 general admission. It's $20 for ringside seats, which is like next to nothing. And this money is going to help raise money for the kids for training boxing, as well as there's going to be 2 different families of fallen first responders that will receive donations from us to go out to the families of someone that lost one of their, the father or the husband or whatever that went down. So we'll be donating money to there. There's
cool.
all kinds of stuff going on. So it's going to be a great day. We expect a huge sellout up there. We got people coming from all over the place. So we look forward to hoping everybody comes out to support us.
How do they get tickets?
You can buy the tickets right at the door.
Okay.
It's easy enough. We'll just keep it simple. That if you need tickets in advance, I'll have tickets. We'll be getting tickets soon. It's just easier. I try to keep everything as simple as possible, but just buy them right at the door. Basically, it'd be easier when you come up. Just come right in. Always looking for sponsors. Anybody that wants to sponsor, get a part of this. Put your name on things. Sponsor a particular fight or a particular fighter. If you have somebody, we're looking for sponsors that want to sponsor each fighter or want to sponsor the whole show or whatever. Anything that we can do to help put this thing together and build it. It's going to be a great day.
All right, before we talk more details, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who do you think's tougher, a police officer or a firefighter?
You can't put me on the spot right now. I'm on for both. Anybody that's a first responder, you have my hats off, and we support you. Anybody that's in my area, in this area, that is a police or fireman, EMT, military, anything that has to do with first responders, if you want to be a part of this, contact me, message me, or Barry Stewart. And from now until the show, you can have my facility to train at for free to get ready for your fight. We'll help you and do whatever we can do, and my gym is open to any of you that want to compete to help raise money for this event.
That is so cool. What made you think of this? It's such an awesome idea. And growing up, I would always play with figures and be like, who's tougher, Hulk or Thor? And then I would kind of think of the real world, and I'll be like, well, who's tougher? And this is my dream come true when I was young. So what made you think of comparing police officers and firefighters and doing this?
Well, this was Coach Barry. He has had the idea of doing this. He's done it before, so it kind of just we're trying to utilize me as being a part of it now, so that we draw from down here as well as from up in the northern counties, up towards Jacksonville and St. Augustine, Palatka, all up there. And then we're pulled from down here in Volusia, Brevard, and stuff like that. So we try just try to make a great family event and pull it all together. I've been asked a million times to get involved with shows, MMA, boxing, kickboxing, this, that, whatever. How come you don't promote shows, this, that? There's too many people doing them. But when it comes to doing an event like this where it's going to help raise money for children and for kids that can't afford to go to the gym, keep kids off the street, keep them from getting in trouble. If they've been in trouble and we can turn their lives around to help them, man, I'll always be in favor of helping anybody out there, anybody or any way I can do that to help these kids. That's all. That's what it's about. So it'll be a great day. Hopefully we can raise a lot of money.
That was just such an awesome speech. And the whole time, all I thought about was Hulk or Thor. I don't know who would win that. I really don't.
Well, it was in
Hemsworth is so funny, though.
It was in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, they fought each other.
And
And
who
Hulk
won,
kind of
Dave?
kicked his butt.
All right. Well, there you go. You didn't need to wonder.
Yeah, I'm still wondering.
By the way, that movie was horrible. Oh.
What? Wait.
I tried to get into it. I tried to watch
Have
it.
a great night. Bye.
Wait. Forget the police versus firefighters for 1 second. Wait.
I
You
sat
think
down to
Thor
watch.
Ragnarok was terrible?
Oh my Lord, they kind of blew the whole thing out of the picture. I just couldn't get into it.
So what about the movie made you like, you know what? I just don't like this, because the whole movie I was amazed.
It was kind of like they were just making fun of this superhero thing, as opposed to like the first Thor movie I liked.
Okay.
But then it's like they went to this one and it just seemed like
More
it was,
humor.
yeah.
So they made him kind of just
They
goofy.
like took away from Thor in this movie compared
My
to
Aunt
the first.
Kathy said the same thing. I
Yeah.
thought she was crazy, but I do
Well,
love
the first
it,
Thor, you watched it, it was like, wow, man, this dude is serious. And, I mean, he's the god and he's doing all this. And then you watch this one and it was like a comic or something.
It
So-
was really slapstick. It was really
Yeah.
funny. The music was like a
It
big
was,
deal
but it
about
was it wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah, I've heard that actually a lot.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, guys, July 7th. Mitchell will be here any second. Chris, Charlie, we got a couple big fights coming up.
Couple.
Yeah, couple. And hey, championship fight for you, right?
Yes, sir.
Unf-
Yeah, I'm excited. 170. It's sort of like my new home now for MMA,
Okay.
and plan on taking a belt home.
Do you like how it's at Guilt? You kind of have like a winning
Yeah.
streak there. It's kind of like that's like your home field a little bit.
I got a win streak everywhere. But
The house that
maybe,
Mixan built.
Yeah, I guess. But might as well start renaming it and everything, Make it my permanent residence.
The
That'd be
Chris
fine.
Club.
The mixing in.
Okay, so you said 170 is where you feel comfortable with MMA.
Yeah.
Is
for sure.
And now, of course, this is your focus, is this title fight coming up in MMA, but we do know you do boxing as well.
Of course.
Is that not your comfortable weight class boxing as well?
I mean, ideally, I'm most comfortable around like 165 in that area. Like I bounce around, up or down 10 pounds, 5 pounds, whatever. But I mean, honestly, I'm just open to anything. Like I just like fighting. Like so,
Pretty
just give me a
straightforward.
fight. That's all good.
And
That's
this
the
is
attitude of a fighter.
yeah, and this is your first title shot, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So
First
you could
time,
be
first crack.
a Combat Night champion.
His first belt.
Yes.
So
First of many.
he's got a healthy career ahead of him. He's going to do well, and we look forward to just keep building. So we'll get an MMA. We'll go for an MMA title, and then we'll go for a boxing title, and then we'll see where we just keep building from there.
Has that ever been done before? A Combat Night and undisputed champion?
I don't think so.
Woo.
No, could be the
Uh-oh.
first.
Ooh,
Uh-oh.
breaking ground.
Could be the first.
That's groundbreaking.
So
Don't steal my line.
let's work this one.
One thing at a time. Yeah.
And then we'll get her out of the way. So Taylor was supposed to fight on Combat Night.
Charlie hands Taylor the mic. Nice and discreet.
Unfortunately, Taylor came down with a flu 2 weeks ago, which turned into a whole nother cold and congestion and everything. So yesterday was her first day back in the gym in 2 weeks. So we ended up sadly having to cancel her fight for this show in October. Next week in Orlando. So she's just back in the gym now. Unfortunately, a fighter loses 2 weeks in the gym. That's like 5 weeks to recoup.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure.
So
There's
she's
something going around.
yeah. So she's got to get getting back on track right now. So second day back in. So we'll give it a couple weeks, get her get back on track, and then we'll look for the next date that we're going to stick her in somewhere.
Question for you, Pete and Taylor, kind of. When is that mark, the line in the sand that goes, okay, we're not fighting? What is it? 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, or is it just how you feel, or is it?
We were 2 weeks out, and I still felt horrible.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good.
Just not
As
gonna
much
work.
as I hate pulling out, because I feel like I let people down, and I train so hard, and
Sure.
it just sucks.
Yeah, but you're being smart. I
know.
mean, that means that you can put your ego to the side and focus on what's best for your career. Like, I hate when people say, "Oh, you're not tough if you don't follow through." It's like, if you have an injury or something, this is something you're trying to make a career out of. Why would you fight when you're not 100% at your best?
Like my first fight, as soon as we got there, I had the cold. Like I had to sit in the shower for like hours, a hot shower, try to feel better before my fight, and it was horrible. And I didn't want to take that risk again.
Mhm.
So being coach, he obviously.
And here she is 2 weeks now with the cold, but just before the cold, 3 days before that came on, she broke her foot when she was sparring at Fusion. So she broke her toe, and the top of her foot was all black and blue and everything, but that didn't stop her, that keep going. But so she kept training right through that and was still working and everything. But then when you start getting so congested that you can't breathe and you can't do anything, there's no way you can compete like that. She couldn't even catch her breath.
Yeah, you got to rest and recover the right way.
Plus, I don't want her in the gym anyway, because I don't want her spreading around the gym like wildfire.
Exactly.
He's the crankiest person when you get sick. So
Yeah,
stay away from him.
stay away from me.
Kind of funny, but it's true.
A question for all three of you guys, kind of about the foot. Do you guys ever feel like you go into a fight 100%?
No,
No.
definitely not.
Really?
All of you guys just said no.
Yeah.
They're like so quick too. That's crazy.
So you've
Like
never,
even tonight, I'm like 98%, and I almost canceled.
Yeah.
It's like my voice is a tad off, and I was like, guys, we might not do the show tonight. It's like
didn't
so
feel
it's-
hydrated.
I know. It's like let me get the water real quick.
So, okay, so when do you... Okay, so from a coach perspective, you probably see it differently. But from a fighter perspective, if every fight you go into, you're never 100%, how do you know what's the line? Like, we kind of just asked you, but how do you guys know what's the line in which you can't fight anymore?
If they can notice it, then it's probably above the line. Like if they can notice like a difference in the way that you train and everything, like they could tell that that's not your maximum potential, your maximum output, and it's really it's always up to coaches. Like
Yeah, the coach has the final word for sure.
for sure.
So in a way, do you guys hide sometimes a little bit of being banged up? Or
Yes.
okay.
You tell me that...
They do, but you can't hide it. I can tell you what they're going to do before they do it. All of them. That's my job.
Knows me
and
better
see
than I
it.
know myself.
So I know when about 30 seconds into sparring, or if I just watch them doing drills or something like that, I'm like, yeah, what's wrong?
Especially in the gym, Pete, you're so sneaky. Like I was in there throwing a couple lefts, working on my game a little bit, and then all of a sudden I see a picture on Facebook me throwing a left. I'm like, how did Pete take that picture?
Everybody thinks that I'm not paying attention.
You have a
I see
secret room that you just take pictures
I
in?
see everything that goes on in that gym. I got one of my little ones at the gym, Kenya. She's always training. She's always behind me for some reason when she's training, right, Kenya? Yeah. But I see behind me that I know she's standing there while the rest of the team's doing the drills. She's catching her breath, and she waits for me to turn around. Then she goes right back to work. So I called her out, put her on the spot.
You had a funny story. I forget when it was, but you said... I want you to tell the story, obviously, but you hurt your foot. And didn't you go through the whole practice with a hurt foot?
Oh yeah. We one day we were training and it just happens, leg lock or whatever, and just it made a noise it shouldn't have made, and we just sort of carried on.
You finished the whole practice, and then later you found out what was wrong with your foot.
Yeah, like later on, but it's nothing. Like it was just a minor issue. So yeah, I mean. With those things, also like adrenaline plays into it. Like most of the times, especially if you have like in sparring or something like that, you'll get an injury or a little tweak there, but you won't notice until after, like till you sit down and you're like, oh, like that hurts. But
See, to you guys, a minor injury is to us a major injury. So that's just the difference that we see. But we have the MVP.
Yeah,
here.
well, let's get one more question to Taylor. Taylor, any kind of sponsors, all your social medias.
all the sponsors.
Yeah,
you have this memorized,
all
right?
43 of them.
Yeah, you have this memorized.
Good luck.
Money
Team
pays
Fake
the
Gear.
bills.
Team Fake Gear, Combat Night, C's Waffles, There's so many. I really can't.
How about this? So we'll get back to it, where you can
Okay.
create your list and think about it. So then when the list is all ready, you can just boom.
Yeah.
We can't wait to see you back in the octagon very
Yeah.
soon, sooner than later.
The next big thing.
Soon,
Thank
soon.
You. Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you, Taylor. And now,
Mitchell.
we got sound effects now?
Come on up here, little
that
homie.
wasn't even me.
Wow.
The legend himself, Mitchell Chamale from Combat Night, promoter of Combat Night. Pleasure to have you on, sir. Thank you for coming.
What's up, man? How you doing, buddy?
Try not to get you tangled up with these wires. Cool. So we heard you like gummy bears. That's what we talked about this whole time.
I am a fan of gummies. If I had to pick my favorite candy, it would definitely be gummies.
You like it with the sour at all, or just straight gummy?
I'm cool with either, just as long as
Okay.
it's soft. I don't
Oh.
like whenever they're like hard. Like,
Sure,
you know.
like the taffy, the hard taffy. Like the
Well, sometimes you go to
Now-and-laters.
like one of those like beachside like candy shops, and they're in the little bins.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they
Stuck
sit there
together.
for like 4 weeks, and no one's touched them, and they're like
You need
hard because
fresh
the air.
gummies.
I need fresh gummies. Albanese. I believe that's
Yeah,
the
it's
best.
the gold
brand.
package a little bit.
I don't really know what color it is. I
Oh,
just
I
know the
think it's
gummies
gold.
are the best.
Oh,
Oh yeah, Haribo. Yeah. No,
those are good.
Albanese.
Those are
is-
my favorite.
Before we get into
We're really
like,
talking about this.
yeah,
That's where we're
my
going.
last question was before we even get into business. Have you seen Thor Ragnarok?
Yes.
Okay. Did you like the movie? Yes or no?
Yes and no. I liked the movie and I liked the storyline, but I didn't like how much they made jokes and it was like a comedy.
It's a common complaint. It's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
Okay, we'll
Like,
take
I'm
it.
not playing.
We
I'm not
loved
playing
it.
with
He
you.
didn't like it, so we're like, who doesn't like that? You came on and you kind of
Yeah.
said the same thing he did.
Yeah, I mean I liked it. It was still a good movie. They could have got rid of like half the jokes. I felt like I was watching Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Deadpool's
what I expect.
amazing.
I love me
expect
some
that.
Deadpool.
Amazing, though.
I
Yeah,
expect
but you
that from
weren't
Deadpool.
expecting Deadpool the second time around after they made such a serious first one that was really good. You know what I'm saying? When you watch the first Thor, it was serious, and they bring in this. Yeah.
So if like a few good men 2 came out and it was a comedy, you'd be like, no, that doesn't make sense.
I still
I
want
see
those
what you're saying.
waters.
Yeah, that's for you. Yeah.
They're gummy flavored.
$1.29.
But okay.
Okay.
Yeah, now we can get serious. Talked about Thor. Talked about gummies.
Yep.
We have Combat Night, July 7th. Obviously, promoter Mitchell Chamale joining us. Tell us about what's going down.
So we've actually had a few shows at larger venues in Orlando specifically over the past couple of events. Just to be honest, I wanted to run another big show, but man, it gets tiring. You know, I've done so far this year, I don't know, like 9 shows. I just had an event
Fort
over the
Lauderdale,
weekend.
right?
Yeah, at Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
A great event. It was sold out. A really successful event, and a lot of these events have been sold out, and that's awesome. But with those events come a lot more stress. You know, you got more people in the room. You got more people that can be upset about something. You got more people to fight with other people, and you know, all sorts of things. And so it was just it's nice to kind of dial back a little bit. And you know, Richard Cox does a hell of a job matching the cards, but I know he gets tired of putting 10 or 12 pro fights and 10 or 12 amateur fights, or you know, like Clash of the Titans. I think we did like 18 fights each. It's just absurd.
It was a
Stack
great
card.
night.
Yeah. I mean, the fights are always great. You know, he does a good job at evenly matching the fights. But man, it's just, you know, those events wear on you. You know, where I'm waking up at 8 in the morning, going to set up a cage and make sure the lighting is right, make sure the chairs are where they need to be, because I'm a perfectionist and I don't let anyone else. You know, people are, oh, you let someone else do it. No, I'll do it. You know.
You
But-
sound like our producer here.
You've been on the go for the past 4 weeks. Like you ain't even stopped in 4 weeks.
Yeah, no, it was funny. I was at the gym and I was teaching kickboxing class, and Troy said something, and I had completely forgot I had to be here at 8:30, and I was like, oh man, I didn't bring any of my stuff with me to the gym. I got to go home before I leave, so I had to like leave early. You know, I had to skip out on wrestling practice and ran home and took a real quick shower, and then I was like, wait a second, I think he said 8. I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
he said 8.
I apologize to everyone before. I even gave you a way out for being late. I
Yeah.
said there's a reason why he's late. It was my fault. I took it. We do appreciate you giving us your time for sure.
No. I mean, I want to get out here. You know, last time I had that turkey sandwich that didn't treat me right.
I'm eating a turkey sandwich right now.
Man, be careful. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
easy.
I haven't eaten turkey ever since. Like I get in those moods where like, you know, if you drink too much vodka, you don't want to drink vodka
Yeah.
for a year. Yeah, I don't want to eat turkey for a year.
That's vodka 3 times a week. You can't get off of it. That's Troy Worthen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of my roommates. Him and a guy named Cleveland McLean. They're both professional fighters, 25 and
Troy's a
35.
beast.
Yep.
So July 7th is at Gilt in Orlando. I know you have July 14th in Tallahassee. It's funny. I woke up this morning in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I think I say it all the time. No one drives more than me. I drive for a living. I sell jewelry and toys for a living. It's a great job. Anyways, but then I thought about it. I was like, man, we see pictures of Mitchell. He was just in Fort Lauderdale. Then he's back here. We see him in Orlando. And then he's in Tampa. He's setting up for Orlando. Then Tallahassee. I'm like, that guy is everywhere. Just like how Coach Pete just said. He's like, you are just in a different
And he was in
time
Colorado
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago, and then Vegas, and then up to
You got
Massachusetts.
a beautiful
and
family. You have a beautiful son, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like- That's
That's probably the hardest part.
Yeah,
You know,
no, me too.
I love traveling and I love visiting new places, talking to people, networking, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I genuinely enjoy it, and I love that martial arts has given me the opportunity to do that. You know, that's what I get to do. I get to travel the world and punch people in the face. You know, who wouldn't love that? But like, especially my boy, man, growing up, you know, man, I left probably about 3 weeks ago, and I was back for one day, left again, and then back for one day, and then we went to Connecticut together to corner Hannah for her fight. And in that time, like, he went from like this little chunk ball and like roll still to like now he's like slim. I'm like, oh man, I missed it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that quick. And you know, it sucks. Like, everything is what's that? You know, I mean, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you know, that's what I hate the most about it. Having to, you know, talk to him during, you know, do FaceTime and sing him goodnight songs while he, you know, at night.
But thank God for FaceTime.
Yeah.
That's the best freaking air conditioned,
Isn't that crazy?
plumbing, FaceTime. Those are the
Yes,
three best
for
inventions
sure.
ever.
FaceTime is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it
You
helps
said
you stay
air conditioning,
connected.
Yeah, air conditioning.
Okay, cool.
Air conditioned, plumbing, FaceTime.
All right, I'm cool with that.
All right. Makes perfect
So
sense.
Dave and I talk about this, and obviously, like you just said, you travel all around and you see talent everywhere. Would you say Florida talent seems to be? I hate comparing things, but is it like the best talent around? Would you say is in Florida?
Man, I'm gonna have to say yes and no. Yes, there's a bunch of really good raw talent here, but I don't think the state is doing them justice for the transition to pros. Where a lot of states are a lot more proactive to help their amateurs become really successful pros. You know, Mississippi, you can fight with no shins. I don't think they should be throwing elbows, but knees to the face. But you know, they allow it. They let you get like as real as it gets. Some states let you do title fights where you're doing, you know, 5 3-minute rounds. And I just think that's the kind of stuff they should do here in Florida right now. You know, it's 3 3s, and for the longest time it was no ground and pound. It's like, man, how can you get prepared for the pros if you
Yeah,
can't do it
that's
in amateur? It's like, hey, we're gonna play football, guys, but you can't tackle.
Yeah.
That's a key element of
Exactly.
the game.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're saying that we
It's
have,
evolved tremendously in the
It
past
has.
couple of years. It's evolved tremendously, but it's still got a long way to go.
So
Yeah.
why is that though? Why are those regulations
state.
like that?
They don't want no one to die.
Political.
Yeah, it's all political. It's all
Everybody's worried about who's going to get sued, who's going to die, who's going to this, who's going to that.
But I mean, don't they look at the fellow states and be like, "Wow, this is actually pretty successful over there"?
You would think, man. They're literally. I think his name was Alan Foster over in Georgia Commission. He's in California now, but man, he had Georgia tight ship. Great, everything's great up there. It's affordable to do a show. Like here, that the states are real expensive, and that also limits the sport because the athletes don't
Certainly,
get a chance to fight in their hometowns, and because there's no pro shows. And all that's because of the state and the regulation. And I think it's holding back our potential. I think if we had maybe a better commission or rules start getting passed, which I think they will. The commission we have right now is 10 times better than anything we've had. So I think they're going to start pushing some things through, and we'll see a lot more growth in the sport.
You could do a pro show and get a pro license in Georgia for what, $200?
It's a
for
few,
a,
the
for
whole
a fee.
after
And
you,
then here in Florida, it's like $1,900 just for the license for that,
Yeah,
just for the event license.
they
for
make
that
you
day.
pay for a permit fee here, and in Georgia, it's not like that. It's not, you know, there's literally a giant change in value and money that it costs to run a pro show up there. You can do 2 or 3 pro fights and get away with it. In Florida, they want you to do seven pro fights, and you know, you can't just do 2 or 3.
I think the sport's becoming more and more global, and like it's definitely expanding. I mean, you see UFC now's on ESPN, and I think more people are aware of it. And I hate the fact that we don't have the same rules and regulations for everybody, because I feel like it's not the same. Like, you're not on the right field. Not everyone's on the right step. One person's above, one person's down here. This one has regulations. This one doesn't.
Yeah.
Every
sure.
state's different.
I
Everywhere
think
you
it should
go
all
is
just
different.
be the same.
No, that's a huge problem,
Fair
man.
playing field.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. They don't, you go to another state and you're like, hey, is the rule here your hand down or is your hand up? Like, what's the rule?
Yeah,
Can my hand
confuses the
touch or
fighter.
not? and some of the refs and the commissions don't even know the rules. They're messing up. I mean, but again, it's getting better. But we still, like Pete said, we have a long way to go. So yeah, we have great talent in Florida, but I think we need the state to help us develop it a little better.
Gotcha. When you have fighters like Chris and Charlie right next to you, and obviously as a promoter, like we just said, you travel everywhere, you look at the Florida talent. From a promoting standpoint, what do you look for? And like, okay, that guy's special. He can put on a great fight. Like, is there a certain trait that you look for in a fighter?
And I'm just watching a fighter. I think they're how composed they are is really a key to me. You see a guy who they don't look nervous. They have that look in their face, like they're just looking through the guy they're in front of. They're relaxed. They're breathing. Chris Mixan is one of those guys. He gets in there and it looks so natural. That's what you want to see. Troy Worthen is one of those guys. He gets in there and he looks like, man, like okay, now the real Troy gets to have fun. Like now he's gonna show you guys what his art's all about. Mike Davis is another one of those guys. You see these guys and you see it early in their career. It's not something that they develop. You see it
natural,
right away.
Right?
Yeah, it's a natural thing.
They have it.
Some people can train there and be incredible in the gym, but they just don't have that composure when it's time to fight. And and no matter how much the skill set, it doesn't matter if you don't have that composure, like he's saying, man. It makes a big difference.
That's weird to me. Like, and I mean, I understand it and it makes sense, but like, I see some people have that. I'm gonna get as hyped as I can get, play my music as loud as I can, and just jump all over the cage. But it's almost more impressive to see someone like Chris, someone that's calm and just seems experienced. There's nothing you can do to phase him and make him feel uncomfortable. I feel like I boost his head a little bit. I try
we
not.
compliment Chris way too much. I think.
I said he fought similar to Conor McGregor. Like all seriousness, and I wasn't trying to like. I just think he has a similar style. The way he spaces out and just his timing, his patience, his precision. It just reminded me of Conor McGregor. But has there been instances with you looking at fighters and you've predicted, hey, that guy's special, and he goes extremely far up the ranks?
Yeah, I haven't done that very many times. I always tell people there's like a very small percentage of people.
Yeah, it's the elite of the elite.
Yeah, and yeah, they've come through, and I've seen them, and I see their work ethic, and I see how hard they're training, and how they feel, how they fight in the cage, and girls like Jillian Robertson, there's no way that girl's not gonna be successful. One, and women's MMA is blowing up, and she's in it at the right time. She's getting the fights at the right time. You got girls like Hannah Goldie too, who I just they're gonna make it. Guys like Mike Davis. Man, there's been a few of them, but out of all the fighters, it's probably 5%, which is a pretty small number. But then there's the guys that surprise you, and that man, you never thought that guy was gonna make it, but they're just a hard worker. They don't care. They don't have the talent. The natural.
Develop.
Yeah, they figure it out.
But then you can see guys that are like amateurs. I can't even tell you how many times I've seen guys 9-0, 10-0, 10-1 that are amateurs, and then come out of the gate 0-3 as a pro. And
that's weird.
That's partially to do with them trying to handle their own careers, trying and thinking they're invincible. Partial to do with what we were talking about before, with the state not allowing these guys to make that transition to pro fighting from an amateur career, because it's a big difference. Going from a 3-minute round to a 5-minute round, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
But the composure is huge. Some guys are just natural. They walk in there and it's like not a thing.
I was just going to say, Mitchell, you were just out there in Vegas a couple weeks ago. Austin Lane versus Greg Hardy, Contender Series. We talk about this all the time. Max is a big LeBron James fan. I don't know if anyone knows that about him. He likes LeBron James. I know.
He actually reached out to me the other day. So, yeah, I know where he's going. He's going to Los Angeles. He texted me that.
And he thinks LeBron would be in MMA and be great at it. My point is, with Greg Hardy, do you see that in the future more football players? I know wrestlers have been doing it for a while. It's almost a natural step after high school or college going into MMA. Do you think you see more baseball, football, major, athletic guys? Greg Hardy is just a beast of a man. And after football, his career's done. He has nothing else. There's no more competition. Do you think that could be, something in the future that can happen more often?
The only sport I think that'll happen with is wrestling and football. I don't believe that baseball players have what it takes. I don't believe basketball players definitely don't have what it takes.
Really?
man, they train their whole life that when they get slapped on their hand, they fall on the face on their ground and
No,
cry.
Yeah, that is a great point.
You don't break
Yeah.
that habit, bro. I mean, you do that for
A lot
20
of them
years.
flop, too.
Yeah,
So-
for sure.
They fall
that doesn't
without
work in
getting
a
hit on the
cage.
head.
That's not a good technique in the cage, and you don't break those habits, man. Like, you build habits for sure, and if your habit whenever someone's aggressive with you is to fall over and cry, the cage isn't where you want to be.
This is
So,
a two-part question now.
I don't think that any other sports. I think basketball players, wrestlers, of course there'll be like the anomaly, you know, that might be in some random sport, but like hockey players, these are the people that I think will have success in the future. I think hockey players might be a little less likely because there's not a bunch of heavyweights as a hockey player, but you know, at heavy, man, it's freaking. It doesn't matter. You just have that power, and they know how to use their hips, they know how to turn and you know, switch angles on a dime. I mean,
It's one punch.
yeah, that's
Like
all
in
it
the
takes.
welterweight or lightweight, you know, it's usually not a one punch.
Going into
knockout
that
kind of
fight,
guy.
you know, we knew that was the risk.
Yeah.
You know, and one punch lands at heavyweight, and it's it. You know, it happens.
If I was a football player and if I'm like on a D1 team, like an FSU or something like that, I know you're Gators, and I know that I'm probably not going to go to the league or I enter the draft and don't get drafted, I would seriously consider making that transition to MMA. And then if you're a big name, I mean, college players aren't going to have the name of like a Conor McGregor or John Jones or stuff like that, but it'll definitely get publicity and it'll definitely get ratings if a elite college player goes to MMA. I think that would be incredible.
Tim
let's
Tebow in the
we'll-
octagon.
We'll look at.
That would be the biggest pay-per-view ever.
But look at it with Greg Hardy making his pro debut on Dana White's The Contender Series. Well, he was an ex-Dallas Cowboy.
Exactly.
And, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
He has a
worked
head
all this.
start.
But here's the point I look at it is, why would a basketball player that's making $25 million a year or a baseball player or something like that go to MMA? Because I don't care what you're saying, you're not making $25 million a year, not unless you're Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's how many MMA guys out there are pulling down $25 million a year?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, Greg Hardy's here because he has no other option.
Yeah.
right? He didn't quit football to come to do MMA.
I got you.
So
Football quit on him.
Yeah.
But I do.
But you know, I mean, I know his coach and I know Greg and stuff. So I'm not trying to say anything ill about it. I know Austin very well and his coach and stuff too. But you know, Greg didn't quit football in that paycheck from the NFL to come do this. So I wouldn't see anybody that would. Why would a baseball player quit baseball, making that kind of money that he can make in baseball, to come get punched in the face? How, you know what I mean? The career difference is total.
I do see D1 athletes doing that when they can't make it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we have guys like Alton Meeks, D1 Iowa State, played, I think, something that big people play, right? He's 275 pounds, probably defensive end or something, but he's athletic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he quit wrestling in, I think, 10th grade or 11th grade. He had one state. He was a savage. He focused on football. He went and played football at Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't allowed to wrestle, but he would go in the wrestling room and get some reps here and there. But he comes back 4 years later, and he goes to compete in the World Team Trials and gets second place
Wow.
without
Yeah.
This kid is such a gifted athlete. He's
And there's a bunch of
incredible.
those. There's a bunch of those
I know,
D1
yeah.
guys that are just amazing athletes that won't make it to the
Yeah.
NFL for whatever reason. And those guys will definitely, I think, gravitate towards MMA.
A couple things too is like Pete, you had a great point. I don't see a basketball player saying, "Okay, I make 25 mil. I'm now going to go get punched in the face and just try it." Like I don't see that happening. But what I could see is young athletes before they even enter college, a coach may pull them to a side now and realize how much MMA has grown and say, "Hey, I think you may have a serious shot at that." Like I think that would be more realistic. As I think you're a good football player. I don't know if you're an NFL player, but who knows? You're a freak athlete.
Sure.
I could see that. And then I know everyone's going to look at me strange when I say this, but I don't doubt LeBron James in anything. Like, he's my one exception. Like,
Don't even bring that name up in MMA.
Seriously.
Because I'm not even trying to hear that
All
crap.
seriously. Now, listen.
He'll be carrying around a box of tissues in a damn
I'm not
cage.
saying his free agency decision is to go to the you know what? Oh, God. Okay, so listen. I'm not saying his free agency decision is to go to the UFC. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But if he were to go and literally dedicate his time, you don't think he would have any success? He's 6'8", 260, the best athlete on the planet. You don't think he would have any type of success?
In where? The UFC?
I'm not saying his first fight's in the UFC, but if he started to do MMA, because he's
Do you
33.
see how many kids there are around the world that are competing and everybody wants to get to the MMA? And the roster for the MMA
is not for
that
everyone.
big.
Yeah, and
That's
I
what I
agree.
say all the time.
I agree. That's why I said LeBron's my one exception with this because he's like the amount of athleticism.
He doesn't like contact. He doesn't like.
It is
interaction.
embarrassing. I'm not even gonna lie. Listen, I'm not a basketball fan at all, but it is embarrassing to see. How tall is he? 6'7", you said?
6'8".
6'8".
6'8". And how much does he weigh?
Of
260
muscle.
pounds. That's embarrassing to watch. A 6'8", 260-pound guy full of muscle get slapped on the hand and fall over. That's embarrassing, man. I don't care what it's for.
That's what I
That's not
watch.
sport.
It's hard to
We'll be
argue that.
watching.
I see your logic.
We'll be watching fights, and Mitchell will say to me, he's like, "This guy sucks. He's horrible. How are you gonna be a man and let some man punch you in the face and you're gonna stand there and take it?" That's my boy. That's my boy right there.
Okay, forget the LeBron James
You're gonna be a
discussion.
man and let somebody punch you in the face and take it?
Back.
Just a real quick question for Charlie. Tell us about like the PFL. I saw you were in New York. Were you out there in Chicago just this last week, or?
Yeah, man, I was working for PFL. It's a great opportunity, man, just to get out there and be around those top level guys.
Yeah.
And pick their brains, and it's an opportunity of a lifetime for sure.
When we were talking about earlier, like some people just look calm and relaxed. Like when you're in the octagon, do you pick up on that right away? Like your opponent, like, oh wow, he does seem nervous, or he doesn't seem natural. Do you pick up on that?
Yeah, there's tells you can tell. I mean, when people yawn, that means they're nervous. So
Are you serious?
yeah, when you yawn, it means you're nervous. Everyone gets nervous though. It's part of it. People that actually embrace that nervousness, and take the next level. Those are the ones you gotta watch out for. Because I mean, I get nervous. Everyone gets nervous, but either you shine or you don't. So
Yeah, how you process that.
yeah, it's
So if someone yawns, you must feel pretty good though.
you already know.
That's a good feeling.
Char-
He just yawned. I
Charlie-
know he's
I-
scared.
Charlie's one of the toughest kids I ever met, man. He's been around with me for a long, long time. Back when I was at the other gyms and stuff, he's been around. So, but he's man, I see him take some shots. I see him on the mats with Michael Davis and putting it in, and him and Michael going at it and stuff. But I love Charlie.
Iron sharpens iron. So
Charlie's my boy. I love that kid. So he's been around for a long time, and we're family. So I always support people that are family.
For sure. We already talked about this, but I kind of want to go more in depth about it. ESPN obviously is going to be like partners with the UFC as far as the TV deal. Do you see this affecting you, Mitchell, as a promoter, Pete as a coach? Do you see this having any type of effect that may trickle down to you guys?
Just shout out to my boy Alex Nicholson, number 2 spot on ESPN.
Our boy,
Sports
Alex
Center.
Nicholson.
Yeah.
But do you
we
see
love
that
you, Alex. Proud of you, homie.
Do you see that having any effect?
Like it's more mainstream. I think if MMA is on ESPN, that's great for everyone. More people will see it. And maybe more people will come out to Orlando, to Gilt, maybe July 14th, Tallahassee, more people. If it's on ESPN, I think it's a better for everything. I think everything will trickle down for sure. That's my 2 cents.
I think, yeah, a lot of people, I remember when I first told Pops about MMA, he was like, oh, I'm not watching that, like the bar fighting, like at first, and he thought that the no rules. And I think some people still have that perception of MMA. It's like, oh, they're not skilled. They just throw as hard as they can. But now if you're getting more exposure with ESPN, it's like, wow, this is a mainstream sport. You may get those new viewers,
So all my answers are probably going to be really technical, and I'm
Oh,
probably
love
not
it.
going
We
to
love
say
it.
yes or no about anything tonight.
I know you're a yes and no guy.
It'll be yes and no both times. So yes and no. With that comes new people who also think that they can do shows. With that comes new people who think that they understand the sport well enough to talk about it and advise a friend about what they should do.
Mm-hmm.
So
dangerous.
I've met people who went to a show that was really poorly put together, and maybe it was their first experience of a live MMA event.
Mm-hmm.
And man, those things are expensive, $30-$35. Like that's no cheap amount to go watch a show. And you chose your night, maybe your Saturday or your Friday night. You're giving this event like that time, and if you spend 4 hours there, $35, and they ruin it for you. Are you gonna go back there again? I mean, you're probably not going to try another MMA show. You're going to be turned off by that. Just like if you go to a restaurant, even if they're grand opening, but the food's horrible, you're probably not going to go back there and hope that the food's better next time. So, yeah, that's the negative side. But, yes, on the positive side, I do believe that it's inspiring more people to want to do MMA. And I do believe that it's educating more people about MMA. It's also unfortunate, sometimes you have guys like Conor McGregor who show out and that's a really bad look for a lot of people that see that. They're like, oh, they're just thugs.
Yeah.
So there's positives and negatives to it, and I hope hopefully some more positives start coming out of it, because there's been a good bit of negative happen with stuff like Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
That's what the whole world sees. That's the guy that everyone knows.
It's a bad look. Like, I'm not defending what he did, because what he did was terrible, and like he injured fighters and just caused everyone so much trouble. So I'm not by any means defending what he did. But when you go on Fox Sports, and we watch it all the time, all day, that's all we do is listen to podcasts, they're all talking about it. And obviously they're not talking about MMA in a good light like you'd want them to, but it did get MMA exposure when normally it's NFL and NBA and the World Cup. Everybody was focusing on Conor McGregor. So, and of course that brings the UFC. I saw Chris, you grabbed that mic. So my point being is, what he did that ultimately really hurt the sport?
Well, what I was gonna say is that's sort of like the all publicity is good publicity
Like
kind
LeVar Ball.
of thought or whatever. But since MMA is like a growing sport, and we're getting all these new eyes on it, that could turn a lot of people away, as opposed to, like, just like they won't be like, oh, this guy's a UFC fighter, UFC event. Let me look into it. Like, I'm more interested in it. It's more like, oh, so that's their best guy.
And this is what he's doing.
That's what he's doing. So no, I don't want anything to do with that. So I think it's sort of like it. I wouldn't say it illegitimizes, because it is just one instance or whatever, but it definitely doesn't look good for like your number one promotion to be having, all these troubles that shouldn't be happening, like throwing chairs at buses and stuff.
And that's not his first terrible thing he's done outside the octagon
No.
recently either. I mean, it was the most recent, so that's what everyone's talking about. But he even jumped inside of an octagon and slapped, and yeah. But I mean, let's be honest though. He's supposed to. Well, not supposed to. If everything works out in court, and they think that it can, and him and Khabib, his coach said that he thinks that fight's gonna happen at the end of the year. That will be probably the biggest fight in UFC history, right?
I don't think that's a direct response
To
what he did.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
because he's built up this resume throughout all these years of fighting.
No,
and
yeah, I agree with
performing
that.
well. But
There's nothing that I stand up for in the fact that what he did, and he hurt another fighter that was in that bus and everything.
Yeah.
I think I don't think that he intentionally thought he was going to break the window out of there, because
Yeah.
you look at the way he threw the dolly and everything. It looked like he was just trying to put on a show in front of everybody, whatever. So I don't make any light of any of that, and I don't think any. But when your boy gets jumped by a bunch of dudes, and you load up a plane and fly halfway around the world with your bros to come over and
That's a
whoop
real squad
somebody's
right
ass.
there. That's a real squad.
That's holding somebody down right there, boy. That's the kind of people I like on my team. But
Yeah, 'cause he's
like I
Irish.
said, you can't make light of any of that, though. Yes, of course I love him.
Because he's Irish.
Yes, but
I would love to party with Connor.
yeah.
I would love to,
Insane.
like, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
Dean's already done it.
Have a guy like that on my team. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the
Yeah.
kind of loyalty you want for sure.
That guy
Um,
still trains at the same gym.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I love that since day one.
I got mad props for that. All the money in the world doesn't pay loyalty for me.
Yep.
Loyalty is everything in the world to me.
Yep.
I don't give nothing about money or any of that shit. When that guy's still training over there in the same spot, he's still bringing up fighters in the same gym. Richie Smullins and some of these other kids that are fighting out of that gym, he's still in there working with them. Yeah, he goes and trains at other gyms and stuff like that. But I send like Michael Davis down to Fusion, or send him to ATT Orlando or whatever, or Taylor down there too and stuff,
Sure.
and wherever, we get working wherever. I don't mind that. But it's still where our home is where our home is.
Yeah.
So, I got a lot of respect for that.
I hear you. I do have a fan question for you. So, did you compete in MMA as well?
Yeah, I had a couple fights.
And is that you just like promoting is the way to
Relax over there, Tyler.
He still has a very good career. He's not done yet.
So you're not done.
Oh,
Have you ever-
really?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's
Have
not
you
done
ever
yet.
thought about promoting and fighting on your same show?
That would be a nightmare.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare. But I've known to do pretty crazy, weird, dumb stuff. I've fought twice before an event, like a Friday. I fought on a Friday night, and I had a show on Saturday. I still went to weigh-ins, still did everything I was supposed to do. Fought, did my thing, went and then had an event one time for Dean Tool actually in Pensacola, Island Fights. Then I had an event in Tallahassee the next day, and then in Orlando I did it here for FCF, I think was the name of the promotion at the time. And the next day we had a show in Orlando. So yeah, I mean, I can definitely juggle. I can juggle some things. I still train full time. You know, I don't post about it every day. It's like I don't post about breathing, so I'm not going to post about training. But I do. I train every day. I got 2 sessions in today. You know, Monday, same thing. Go out there. I was sparring with Mike Davis on Monday. Those body shots, bro.
They're rough, bro.
Tell him to chill out.
He'll fold you on them body shots.
He hasn't.
Bro.
He didn't. He didn't. But I
fold
was
you on
like,
them.
man, it was like, oh, warm up round. There is no warm up round with Mike
Nope,
Davis.
nope, 100 miles an hour right
The
out
guy
of the
comes
gate.
out. Oh man.
He was wearing a really nice shirt Monday. I saw Michael.
Locked in.
Yeah, and he I watched his one of his fights. Yeah, that body shot, he just crumbled his opponent,
Yeah.
and then he slams him on his neck after that. But
Yeah.
it's just his body shots are lethal.
I can't wait. July 24th, Contender Series, Dana White, UFC Fight Pass. Everyone give Dana White $10 more. See Michael Davis fight. He's worth every penny.
Yep.
Yeah,
There you
it'll
go,
be
that's
worth
his
it for
plug.
sure. They have that season pass deal where you get like the whole season
Yeah,
for like
that's what I got.
$12 or something.
Because I want to see Austin fight. And the,
Yeah.
whole, the fights on the Contender Series,
Awesome.
3 or 4 out of the 5 are just fantastic fights or fantastic finishes. Because
Well, you got great fighters.
Yes.
Top fighters fighting each other.
Yes.
And they're
Yeah.
and they're fighting not just for a win, but for you don't
Contract.
just because you win doesn't mean you get a contract.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got to impress somebody.
Yeah.
And then that's not
It's
easy to do
It's a
when you're
sick-
going against somebody that's skilled. The other thing that most people don't know about Mitchell is that Mitchell trains my daughter. So on Fridays, usually when he's in town or whatever, and that's my day I'll have off of work, I drive her to Orlando just to spend 2 or 3 hours with Mitchell in his own private little gym training Taylor. So anybody that does that for my kid, this is why we feature Combat Night for whatever, for everything over, you know what I mean? And between Mitchell and Dean Toole, that's my source for MMA. That's
Two best
what
in the
we do.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
So-
enjoy fighting or promoting more?
Nah, fighting way more, man.
Really?
Yeah, man. That's why I train every day. You don't see me trying to promote shows every day. You know?
He takes way too much glory in beating the hell out of everybody at all those sparring sessions. I see him. He loves it. He loves it.
That's awesome.
I get a lot of good rounds in with the guys. It's nice to it's nice to spar with the guys that are putting the shows together. Without them, the shows don't happen. So it's a really cool experience to see. Like you can see they really enjoy that they're getting to train with a guy who's promoting their event in their own. That they're not just fighting for some business guy or some guy who doesn't understand what they go through. So I
Builds
mean,
a whole other level of respect
Yeah.
when the guy's in the gym training with you and you don't mind fighting for him.
and I love it. I'm like, this is what I want to do anyway. So like, I'm always welcome at all these gyms. So I get to see all these different styles all the time. I'm always having to figure out a new puzzle.
Yeah.
I love it. Like it's probably the best. It is the best part of what I do. You know, it's man. Any town I go to, I know I have 3 or 4 spots. The hard part is figuring out like which training session I want to do.
That's a
But,
good problem to have.
yeah, I love it. You know, I'm getting in 2 and 3 a day out of town, where most people are like, you know, trying to Google what gyms are around and hoping they know somebody. And hey, man, you know, trying to avoid a mat fee. You know, I know everybody, and they all want me to be at their gym.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. I love it. I wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, definitely fighting. I like fighting more. But fighting's not something. I don't do anything that's not 100%, and I only have one head, so I got one hat I can wear. And right now that hat's being a promoter and providing for my family and, you know, doing all those things. So I still
like
get the
that
training
saying.
in, but, you know, I'll get back before I'm done. I'll get at least one more in, hopefully in another country.
Wow.
That's the plan.
Talking about great gyms and great places to go. Pete White's Gym, 601 Lemon Street, Port Orange, Florida. Kids, old people, young people, female, male, everyone should go to that gym.
Police officers, firefighters,
Yes.
police officers, and I'm
Yeah.
about to say one last time. Can you give us the information about that so anyone tuning in now can get that?
July 24th in Palatka.
July 28th, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. July 20. I got my July 24th is.
Dave was
I'll
ready
be
to
with
correct you
Mike.
there.
Yeah, we got Mike Davis, July
It's crazy.
24th, July
Yes, I have Mike Davis July
21 is
24th.
Keybod.
Yeah.
I know all the
July
dates.
21st, Keymon Evan fights for Lang Promotions up in Memphis, Tennessee. Then I got July 24th with Mike Davis on the Contender Series. Then I have July 28th will be Battle of the Badges in Palatka, which is money for the PAL program for the kids for the gym, and we're also taking care of a couple of families that are going to be, of responders that have lost their lives and stuff. So anything we could do to raise money to help out the kids and stuff, it's all good.
Definitely July 7th. You want to shoot out everything.
tickets.
Where do people get tickets?
July 7th, we have.
I have
man.
tickets for if
Yeah.
anybody needs tickets up this way, you can come see me. I have some tickets.
P. White definitely has tickets.
They're
I
$120
have
a
to
seat.
get some, Coach.
VIP.
July 7th back in Orlando, going to be at Guilt Nightclub. The event, fights will start at 6, doors open at 5. Like Pete said, he's got tickets up over here. Looking forward to a great night of fights. We got some guys like Chris Mixan, fighting for a title. Man, like I said, he's something special in that cage. We have Adrian.
Adrian Haley.
Yeah, Adrian Haley defending his belt against Ronnie Hudson, his only loss. I know there's gonna be some bad blood there, and it's always last time it was a pretty quick finish. Ronnie got Adrian with, so it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes when they run it back. But yeah, man, come out and check out the show if you haven't been to one. It's an experience. I promise you'll enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, talk to Pete.
All the
I got
complaints
some-
at Pete
I
White.
got words for you, so that's fine.
Yeah, we got actually Team Fate Gear is coming on, and they're starting to support us on all of our shows. We like to support them because they support fighters. It's not always about putting money in my pocket. Sometimes it's about putting money in the pockets of others. And I like what they're doing. They're giving them scholarships. Monthly scholarships to help them out with their training and stuff. And that's just you don't see a bunch of companies doing that. There's a bunch of companies that are capable of helping out local fighters, and they don't. And it's unfortunate that that's what we rely on as fighters. We rely on that local support.
People don't have any idea how much the sponsors mean, man. It's incredible. The other one, the big one, is the Josh Saman Foundation. We thank you so much for everything you do to help these kids out. Fighters and gyms, everything all over the place. That's a huge help.
Yeah, somehow I don't know how I wasn't about to plug the Josh Mann Foundation. I'm on the board, and Josh was my business partner. I'm actually wearing a sweater here. Josh Mann was my business partner for a long time. We started this thing together. We were two crazy kids that thought we knew everything, and found out really quick that we don't know everything. But if you spend enough money, you'll figure it out. We were both fighters. That was kind of we did it because we didn't want to get real jobs. We wanted to train all day, party all night. We were in college. So that was the idea behind it, really, originally. And we did our first show, and we're like, oh, man, we made a couple $1,000. Like, what? And we just kept doing them and kept figuring out how to do it the right way. And, he passed away. It's coming up on 2 years now. So we started a foundation to specifically help fighters. Last year we did around $11,000 in scholarships to fighters. This year we're around 6 already. About to start another round of scholarships. We've had, fighters like Taylor, Chris Mixan. It's super easy. If you're a fighter and you're dedicated to your craft, you can apply. You can go to CombatNight.com and find it on there to apply or whatever, but it takes about 20, 30 minutes.
I can't believe how many people don't take the opportunity to get the money and the gear or whatever they're offering. If you're a fighter and you can't take time to put that into your own self, that's absurd.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't make sense.
You'd be surprised. I'm surprised. I tell people all the time, like, hey, man, fill this out, please.
yes, you
post
got to
about
beg
it, I
them.
tag
You shouldn't have
people.
to beg them. They should be grabbing it.
You would think.
And they're all over Facebook looking for sponsors,
Yep.
looking for sponsors.
It's like here.
Yeah, we're looking for athletes. Like, come on,
Yeah.
But, hopefully within the coming years, it'll pick up and take off. So it's wanting to help cement his legacy in the sport. He did so much for it while he was around. He literally was like an ambassador for the sport here in Florida. He always shouted out Florida and did a lot, gave it a lot of love. So we want to make sure that his legacy is cemented here and continue to help out fighters like he would have done.
For sure. That's awesome.
Awesome. More about sponsors. We got Charlie and Chris here. Any local sponsors, Daytona, Orlando, any Port Orange. We see Chris. We were at the gym. Chris is coming from work. It's so hard. All the driving he does, all the work he puts
College.
in. Anything that can help Chris Mixan, at Chris Mixan on Facebook. Anyone can help with sponsor him.
I'm going to run through a quick list.
There you go.
Fit
There we go.
Meals with Dimitri. Get on your Fit Meal program.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
844
Great.
Fit for you.
Yep.
Great food.
MyFitness.com.
Team Fake Gear that we've already mentioned. These guys, Brad and Shane Payne and my boys over there, these
Talked to
do
Shane
so
last
much
night.
to help everybody. Pep-Boys, Richie Veit.
Yep.
Richie's always got
Richie.
great things going to help us all out, man. I couldn't be more thankful. Jeff and Nina over at Winners Par. Richard Pinelli, who takes care of Taylor's Strength and Conditioning at Elite Strength and Performance. Donnie Walsh, New Smyrna Beach Spine. Josh Saman Foundation, MyFightShirt.com, Print Bros, Locked In, always helping us out, whether it's on
Thank you.
here or sponsoring the fighters or whatever. C's Waffles down in Edgewater, we thank you, Josh. So, I mean, I could just keep going on and on and on. So there's so many people that play a part in this stuff. You know, you think, well, like Mike Davis is going to the UFC or go to fight out there. Well, they pay for one person, and they pay for Mike, and they pay for one person. But if you want to bring your team out there, you have to pay for all that
Yeah,
stuff.
out of pocket.
So sponsors are helping do that. You know, I got to get a ticket for Anderson to go with us and stuff. So all that stuff adds up, and then spend 4 days and 5 days in Vegas. See how much that adds up. It's crazy.
We definitely want to thank Fit Meals, 104.7 Rocket Daytona. Thank you, Frank. Locked in minute around 8:35 a.m. We also have Wicked Cutz. Chris and I got a fresh fade from Wicked Cutz together. And Richie from Pep-Boys. He's a LeBron James fan, I think. So he's he's a good guy there. So
Forget
make sure
it,
you
I'm
check
not
him
talking to
out.
Richie anymore either.
He's a big TJ Dillashaw fan, so he's good with me. He's a big TJ fan.
That's going to be a good fight coming
yeah,
up.
coming up August.
But awesome. Chris,
Oh,
you got
Chris?
something, bro?
A couple, Justin McCall with Ace Athletics and Michael Biller with Devoted Tattoos. They help me out a lot, so quick shout out to them.
Cool. Those are fresh.
You want to shout out your company?
Yeah, I got one sponsor, it's Volusia Gold and Diamond. Thank you, Gus. Appreciate it.
What's your company?
Oh, my company?
Yeah. Plug yourself. Plug yourself.
Floor is
My
yours.
company is 747 Motors. Buy and sell cars. So if you need a good car, let me know. Number's 386-214-5233.
There you go.
We sell everything here at Locked In. We're selling cars, we're selling food, we're selling
Haircuts,
tickets,
tattoos.
haircuts. Gee
Whatever
whiz.
you need, we got you.
And thank you, Five, for giving us this opportunity to have such wonderful guests on. Chris Mixan.
It's thankyou5.org. Check them out. Check out all their plays. They got stuff like every Friday and Saturday night. Thankyou5.org.
This place is awesome.
Yeah,
It is
it's awesome.
Little plays, magic shows, everything that goes on here and everything. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
All live stuff.
we got something going on. This is my pops, as no one knows. We got something going on this weekend, right?
Yes, we do.
All right, here. Do you want to grab the mic? The floor is yours.
Todd Bogue's Ridiculous Comedy and Magic.
All right.
Children's show at 1 o'clock, adult show at 7:30.
Beautiful.
2018 Florida Magician of the Year.
Beautiful.
There you go.
I got a little comic joke.
Oh, here we
Kind
go.
of cheesy, though, but
All right.
I'm ready.
what's the cheese is not yours?
Oh.
Oh, I
Nacho
got it. I
cheese.
know it. I'm sorry.
Nacho cheese.
I know all the corny jokes.
But anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Locked In with 2 N's.
Do you want to get locked in at all? Does anyone, you four guys, have a locked in?
Hey, shout out to my wife that I hardly ever see.
There you go. She's like,
Love
We
you,
should
man.
get her and Brandy to be friends. They can hang out
Yep.
because Brandy's in that same boat.
Yep. Shout out to my daughter Justine, whose birthday's tomorrow, my oldest.
Nice. All right. You said Locked In. I do have a Locked In.
no, I do. I have a really, really good locked in. It's July 7th will be the best day in combat sports the whole entire year. 5 o'clock in Orlando, we have Guilt, Combat Night. Awesome. Chris Mixon's going to win a title. I'm sorry. He's going to win the title. And then after that, everyone hang out, party. There's a big, huge UFC 226, DC versus Stipe.
We're all coming to your house, right?
Okay, everyone at Dave's house. Yes, Susie, everyone's coming to our house. Big fights. I just can't wait. July 7th, best night of combat of the whole.
DC or Stipe?
DC. I think I'm like by myself.
Who
No
you
one.
got?
DC's winning it.
I had like a 2-part Locked In, so I guess I'll go.
This is just
who-
one
DC
question.
or Stipe?
Yeah, this is one question, bro. Who you got,
Part of my Locked
LeBron?
In. It's a yes and no. No. I would take no. I'm fine. It's I'm gonna say it's a yes and no, but I'll go with DC.
This question's getting harder.
I'll go with DC. I'll go with DC. I think DC edges it out. I won't be surprised. Like, I'm not underestimating Stipe at all. Like, he has knockout power. He
I'm
has
going the
wrestling.
other way. I'm
going
going with
DC.
Stipe.
I guess since
Mitchell?
everyone's locked in, what's yours?
I'm going with DC, and
Yeah.
I hope that he retires
He's
after.
fighting John Jones next. You didn't
Nah,
know?
He
Heavyweight?
don't need to fight John Jones. He needs to retire.
They're
John-
beefing
if
on
he-
Twitter already.
Yeah, John Jones will knock him out
Have they
again.
stop beefing? Like,
He does not want to
I thought
fight
they
John
hugged
Jones.
after
they just
the
hate
second
each
one,
other, bro.
DC is getting older.
He is getting older, but John Jones without the steroids is
Still a freak of nature.
No, you mean John Jones without cocaine is going to be a freak of nature.
that too. That helps.
I'm telling you, it's not a
So
good thing for
DC
DC.
with the retirement.
Even at heavyweight, though?
Who you got?
No, Jones would be
You
better
see how
at
big John
heavyweight.
Jones
Yeah.
is, bro?
Yeah, he's a monster, bro.
Yeah, he's.
DC puts
at
on
the
extra
size
weight
of
in his belly.
Look at the size of Stipe. Stipe's huge compared to DC.
I mean, Stipe, if he has he had a brilliant game plan against Ngannou.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah,
knows
he
what he's
did.
going to put together for
Stipe
DC?
is the most underrated fighter in the UFC.
I got
I
mad
got- I got
respect for that
Stipe.
guy
Stipe.
for just being a fireman.
Yes.
Yeah,
sticking
while
with it.
fighting.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, just doing what he does every day. I-
We need more cops. No more firefighters. Stipe,
Especially
I'm sorry
not
you can't
Stipe.
come on the show. We're skip.
All
I got
right,
Stipe because I met him.
Oh, there you go.
that's a good reason. My one of my locked ins though, because I said I had a 2-part locked in. I thought DC was going to win, but also I think we are going to see more of a crossover with athletes. And I don't know necessarily if it's going to be NBA players who make millions, but like I said, I think it's going to be college athletes who have a chance to do multiple sports, but they see how much MMA is growing, and they could be a bigger name and have catapult them up the ranks. Well, not the ranks, but as far as fans, publicity, and just the hype. So I think we'll see more crossover athletes. That's my locked in.
It's pretty good. Okay.
What's your locked in?
Oh, no. My locked in was
Oh,
July
okay.
7th. Oh, I can't wait.
Okay.
Combat Night will be there at Guilt, cheering
So-
on.
So I'll go. My boys will go undefeated on July 7th. Michael Davis will get a UFC contract with a first-round finish, and that's all I need to say for the moment.
That's all. That's a pretty
That's
good locked
that's
in.
pretty good.
We've been doing the locked in Michael Davis UFC finish for a while. It's happening. We can't wait.
Yeah.
Something you believe is going to happen.
So this year we're going to close out with an event, a pro event, July 14th, Tallahassee. We're going to be doing Fort Lauderdale, September 22nd. We're going to be doing Jacksonville, October 20th. And I do believe that that'll lock us in as the best promotion in the state of Florida. That's 4 pro shows in all 4 of our cities that we also do amateur shows. I got a hell of a team behind us. And I think going into 2019 for our 100th event, we're going to see some crazy shit happening.
Damn.
Good.
That's a good locked in.
My locked in is my second knockout at Guilt nightclub.
Nice.
I actually already fought there one time before, so
That's what's up.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Guilt nightclub, the place that Pete White built in his fighters. They were just
White
4-0 undefeated at undisputed. Oh, Anthony, before the show, he goes, "Oh, wait, you guys having Pete on?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're having Mitchell on too." What? You having Mitchell on? He goes, "I'm at SeaWorld with my family. I miss my guys."
I'm still
So
waiting
big
on.
shout out to
I'm
Anthony.
still waiting on Anthony to announce the date.
Well, we're gonna be announcing something big, Pete. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Just we have a
Yeah.
whole. That's a whole other
Breaking
show.
news.
That's a
I
whole
didn't
other
want to go
show.
locked in
I
on
know.
that. That's
We'll
a
leave
different.
that- leave
we'll
that
leave that
separate.
one
Yeah,
for both
yeah,
of
it's a
us.
separate.
Chris, you grab the mic.
Oh,
He's
am I
locked in?
Yeah. I just want to finish. That's all.
That's your locked in as a finish.
That's all I want. I let myself down last fight, beat myself up about it, so I want to finish. That's it.
I see a submission finish for Chris Mixan.
No.
No?
No.
Okay, never mind.
The coach has spoken.
Yeah, no. Hey, coach is right.
That is a really interesting fight. I've seen pretty much all of Daniel Joseph's fights, and I've seen pretty much all of Mixon's fights. That's an interesting fight. It can
He's
go
a
lot of
wrestler,
ways.
right?
I don't know, bro. You gotta watch Google.
I'll be there July 7th, right?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
go.
You'll find
There
out
you
what he
go.
is on July 7th.
Buy tickets July 7th. Tune in, Guilt Nightclub. Yeah, we'll all be there for sure.
Awesome. Sounds good. Everyone listening, stay
Locked in.
Pep-Boys.
Hey, this is Dave here. Guys, one of the most essential parts of having a great life is having safe transportation for you and especially for your family. So definitely go see our man Richie at Pep-Boys in Daytona Beach, Florida.
And this is Max. What I hate the most, Dave, is when you start up your car and it goes do 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 do, and you know it's gonna be a long day. Well, if I know Pep-Boys has my back, it's gonna be a great day. So no matter what happens, go to Pep-Boys for any issue, give you the best deal, and completely fix all your problems.
And tell them Locked In sent you.
What's up, guys? Max here. Let us introduce you to Wicked Cutz, the best quality haircut around. They have 2 locations, right, Dave?
Yeah, bud. They got one in South Daytona and also the second, the brand new one in Port Orange, Florida.
Now, here's the thing. In order to book an appointment, you can visit wickedcuts.com or download the Booksy app. And every Tuesday and Wednesday, if you mention Locked In, you get $5 off your fresh cut for both locations.
What? $5 off? That's amazing, guys. Check them out, lastly, at Facebook and Instagram at Wicked Cuts Barbershop. Do you want the best meals every day? Then get with Fit Meals. Call them at 844-FIT-4U.
Hey guys, Max here. What I like about Fit Meals is this. It's fit for everybody. If you don't like certain foods, he takes it out. If you like certain foods, he adds that in. It's for everybody. If you're an athlete trying to gain muscle, if you're trying to lose weight, or you're just busy and you don't have the time to cook, Fit Meals is for you. Go to myfitmeals.com and start your plan today.
844-FIT-4U.
Yeah, you now locked in with the best. We ain't rocking with the rest. And when it's game time, we gon' put you to the test. Come the ball, we hitting it, kicking it, or we dribbling, passing it, or we running, or it's the ring that we flip you in. So what's the news? You want the scoop? You gotta keep it locked to David Max podcast through your speaker box. What's poppin', my friend? You know the drop in. And the only thing left to do is keep it locked in.
This is Tyler.